Happy Tinny Talk and welcome back to another episode. And today I'm excited about this guest because I have followed him for a long, long time, but I don't really know much about him, which is my favourite Tinny Talks because it means I get to find out things like for the first time and you get to see my true reaction because I don't know these things. And my guest today is the very own MST, Shane German, which I just found out that's how you say his name.
Yeah, I usually just take whatever comes out of someone's mouth. German Jermaine, Shane Jermaine. I used to get called that a lot. I was just like, whatever.
But it's not, guys, it's German. Like that,
Yeah,
you got to say it with the hands. German.
got a bit of flair to it, yeah.
Oh, that's made my fucking day. We don't need to say anything else. That's great. How are you today? You good?
Yeah, I'm good. I got a little bit of a head cold, so I might sound a little nasally. Sorry, but
Yeah.
no, I'm good. I feel good, and I've had 3 weeks of comps,
Yep.
so I'm feeling a bit run down, a bit tired, but.
Yeah.
But that's probably why I've got a little ill and my eyes a bit dodgy, you know.
Yeah.
I'm taking the brunt of it all, but no, we're good, we're good.
Hey, it's all good. Hey, and you've got another big comp this weekend as well.
Yeah, this is the 4 in a row, so I get a weekend off next weekend.
Then you get
This is
a
a big
weekend
this is a
off.
big one. I'm really looking forward to this one. So yeah, it's another big one.
I am really looking forward to this weekend. One, because, I mean, Giants Life. We all love Giants Life. Europe's strongest man. But we know, let's start on that then. We know that you have a client that's new to you that's going to be have you got just the one or you got a few?
In Europe's,
Yeah.
so we've got four.
Oh, God. Why did I think you would only have one? Of course there's not just one. But you
Well,
have, tell us who you've got.
Luke coaches two, so we've got Andrea and Pa that Luke coaches,
Yep.
and then Shane and Luke Stolt that I coach.
Yes, I did know that actually, which is terrible. But I got excited because Luke Stoltman's quite new to you guys, and he has been progressing very nicely.
Yeah, he's responded real well. He's doing good. So yeah, this thing because we have a bit of a unique training system. You always find that I kind of get two responses from it. Either people respond pretty quickly,
Yeah,
and then they get into the flow of it and jump right in, and other times it takes a little bit for people to understand the concepts and stuff behind what we do because
yeah,
we dive a little deeper than just strongman coaching.
yeah,
But sometimes it can be a bit like look at a programming like what the hell's half of this stuff, and it's
yeah,
hard to get a grasp of it. But Luke's one of those people who's a bit of a sponge, so I'd explain stuff to him why we're doing it, and then he'd instantly grasp it and be able to apply it properly. Whereas sometimes people don't grasp the outcome they're aiming for; they
yeah.
just feel like they're doing this mindless stuff, and then you don't get the outcome you want because there's no intent behind your execution. But no, Luke's took to it really well, and he's he progressed a lot for Brits, but we didn't have much time for Brits really.
Yeah.
But he's progressed even more, so I'm really looking forward to him at Europe, to be honest. Yeah.
I know that's going to be great. And then you've got Andre as well, who we all know is an amazing athlete. I can't wait to see Andre. I've missed him since OSG. We became very good friends while we were there, and I have missed him, so I can't wait to see it. And then who else did you say was there? You've got
Pa
Pa.
and Shane Flowers, yeah.
And we love Pa because he's Pa. And he's always does absolutely amazing. And he's so funny. And we love him. And Shane Flowers, who I remember when I first watched him, the amount he's progressed is just absolutely insane. Like, he is such a phenomenal athlete. Like, it's crazy how much he's come on.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to him for Europe's and World Tour because with Shane, there's always been something in the prep not going to plan.
Okay.
Always different stuff as well. Like every time, like one time it's his knee, then it's his elbow or his shoulder. You know, just something not going perfect. But then he's still
Yeah.
been pulling out amazing performances. This time we've had a perfect prep, so yeah, he's on really good form actually. To be honest with you, so I'm very excited for Shane at Europe's and Worlds because I think he might surprise a few people, especially on his Viking press. I'm looking forward to his Viking press.
Nice. Oh, I'm excited. It's gonna be a great show. I know it is for sure. Right. Okay. So we've had a little talk about that. I want to know, selfishly, about your coaching. Like, you're going to have a lot of coaches, people that are coaches or want to be coaches in the strength industry, that look at you and think, how did you get so fucking good at it? Because I know I think that, and I know that just takes time, and it's probably an obvious answer. But how long has it taken you, would you say, to get to where you are as a coach now? Because you're undeniably one of the best strongman coaches there is, if not the best, right?
Thank you.
There's the data's there. Do you know what I mean? The data is there, and you've got amazing athletes throughout all the categories, weight categories. How long has it taken you? How long has it taken you, and what advice would you give other coaches looking at it?
Well, I've been doing this. I fell in love with this when I was 16, 17.
Okay.
I'm fucking 34 now. So it's been, in terms of learning about stuff, it's been since I was like 16, 17.
Yeah.
But there was many years of just, basically, you can learn stuff that's good, and you can just learn stuff. And I learned a lot of stuff for the first 4 or 5 years. But that kind of helped me in a way long term.
Yeah.
Because then I wasn't just learning this stuff, I was like applying it to myself, and you get a deeper level of understanding when you actually live it as well. So it's been a very long time, but the thing for me is my journey's going to be so much different to people nowadays, because it was hard to access certain information. Like, it wasn't as available when I was in my like early 20s and stuff, because for me, the way I look at stuff nowadays is the things that universities and stuff teach. No offence to the uni strength and conditioning quals, but I don't think if you do that qualification, you spend years and years at uni, you don't come out with any applicable knowledge. So I wasted a lot of time doing a strength and conditioning open university degree, which I use bits of it, obviously, like when teaching about macro cycles, mesocycles, all this stuff, but in general application for actually getting people strong, resilient and conditioned, it's just not there. So again, that was another thing I would classify as a bit of a mistake, but I had to go through all these things and make mistakes to start digging and finding this information that to me was like buried deep and difficult to get. Whereas nowadays it's a little more accessible, because a lot of successful strength and conditioning coaches now, the education scene online is a big thing. People sell the brain online. Like we have a course as well you can learn off us. So people sell the brain, so you can kind of get fast tracked and put in the direction that you can actually learn this applicable stuff. So yeah, for me it's been 15, 16 years, but there's so many years of my time that I've probably wasted learning. Like I've probably forgotten more than I've like remembered, to be fair, because some of the stuff I've learned over the years was just a bit of a waste of years, to be honest. But because I lived the lifestyle as a strength athlete, that's why I remember the stuff that I apply every day, because I use it on myself every day.
Yes.
So when I started coaching, it was quite easy for me to apply what I applied to myself to people that were kind of behind me in terms of strength. And I was lucky that genetically I'm very gifted as a strength athlete, and which meant that I could get to high levels of strength. So I understood what it felt like to hold 350 kilo squats and mid 300 dead, 200 kilo benches. I understand the sensation, because that changes stuff as well. Because you can have all the knowledge, but if you don't really understand, like, how does my body feel when I squat 360 and wake up the next day, it's a little bit different to when you squat 220 or 140 or something. So I had all the knowledge that I was applying to myself, and I was much further along than a lot of people. So I could kind of be like, well, I'm 10 steps higher than you, mate. I can help you get to that next step and that next step and that next step. In terms of building up the coaching thing, though, the under 80 scene, I competed as an under 80, and I was a young under 80, so I understood how much volume I could handle, the difference in timing of events, the skill acquisition of stuff with different structures and different like body shapes and whatnot, because obviously you're a smaller person at under 80. I got bigger at 90. I understood the 90 scene. I've been up to 110 kilo, big round motherfucker, so I understood what that was like. So I kind of mastered this 80, 90, 105 scene, And that's what I feel like. If you wouldn't probably know me back then, but MST was like lightweight coaching for the first couple of years, really.
Yeah.
And I didn't really get many open athletes because people saw me as a lightweight coach.
Yeah.
And then eventually I started getting into the open weight scene. But initially, when I did that, I'm not a 6'4", 150 kilo man, and I'm never going to be. So there was a new learning curve for me.
Yeah.
Because like training these Giants Live boys, they're not humans. Basically,
Yeah.
they respond different to training.
Okay.
The joints are different, the way in which they act. So learning that side of stuff was just hands-on experience. I had to learn how these people reacted to training, because that was the first time that I didn't have data on myself, if that makes sense, because I was never going to be able to mimic what they feel and what they can do. So in terms of what I've done, it's been lots of education, but always applying it. And the only time I've had to really learn something without experiencing it myself is with these guys that really are kind of genetic anomalies, and they lift different weights to, like, even if you look back the last 20 years, like the deadlift record, like, you had about 3 or 4 people pulling 400, and now you've got like hundreds of people pulling 400. So there's more data now available, but you've got to absorb all this data, apply it to the theory that you've learned, but then remember that the theory is not done on these type of people, so learn the trends and build your own little system. So yeah, my advice really would just be, make sure you live the lifestyle, which in my opinion, if you're a strength and conditioning coach, it's very rare you get somebody that doesn't just love the lifestyle anyway. And when you do that, you're able to absorb relevant information, because if you've learned something that you never apply, then do you really need to know it? You know, is it useful at all, or is it just like, that's what I found my uni degree was, no offense, it was just like, I had all this info and I had a piece of paper, but I'm like, don't do anything with it, like. So I would say, if I was starting again, I'd learn I know it sounds stupid, but I'd learn in the gym and online, and I'd speak to other coaches, get information, consult with people, learn off people, pick people's brains. And that's, in my opinion, nowadays the best way to do it, which is very different to how I had to do it when I was coming up, which is why it took me like 17 years. So,
but no, I agree, because like, even like getting your level 3 personal training right, I still remember to this day that is, I mean, I don't remember much from it, to be honest. It's the shittest course ever, and like, I didn't know that at the time, but now I know it is the worst course you could ever do, but it qualifies you to be able to help people achieve their health and fitness goals, which just blows my mind. But I only really started learning when I started venturing out into different sports, different gyms, different things. Like, when I was first a PT, I was very passionate about it, so I was very good at my job because I was passionate. But if I look back, some of the stuff I told my clients to do was fucking, I would never tell anyone to do that now, like food wise and exercise, but like, I was brutal to my clients, and it was too much, and but nobody taught me otherwise, and that's how I train. So I was like,
it's kind of part of the journey every person's trying to go through, isn't it, to be honest?
so shit, I was the shittest personal trainer in the world. I look back, if somebody did that, I'd be like, you should.
And I look back a year ago, and I think, oh fuck, what was I doing? And that's something I say to people as well. If you look back on an old program and think I'm a fucking genius, then that means you haven't learnt out for a year, basically, because you should always be like learning stuff. That's why I love this scene so much, because it's so complicated. It really is. It's funny because a lot of people say, "Oh, strength training's simple." It's not simple. It's hilariously complex. But you can simplify it when you give it to someone. But the background of it can be just this like absolutely manic thing that you've built. And that's why I love it, because I don't think I'll learn enough in my lifetime. Because it's just constantly, especially nowadays, like I say, if you're into strongman or powerlifting, the humans that are about now, there's never been a time in history that people are this strong. So there's new data, and that's why when people quote studies and stuff to me, I'm like, yeah, but you're talking about some random gem pop dude. I was like, if we're talking about this 0.5% of people, they respond different to training, so we have to collect data from these people. And that's why I feel super blessed, because we work with so many of these top strongmen now. I feel like I am collecting a unique amount of data that no coach has managed to collect before, because these people haven't been around before. Nobody's been running with 500 kilo yokes and shit before.
I know.
So when you get
Wild.
like 10 people, 15 people doing it, and they're all responding a certain way, you're like, well, I'm building trends now as to this type of human and how they respond. Like I said before, these people are different. You know, you look at the wrists, and my little tiny wrist, and I'm trying to think about how someone feels doing an axle press when they've got a wrist like my knee. It's a different thing, you know what I mean?
Absolutely hilarious. But yeah, no, strength training is, being a strength coach is very difficult. Like if you go, being a personal trainer is so much more simple and easy on the brain. Like there's a difference between a coach and a personal trainer, and I can say that because I have been both, and I know it's different. And even like doing your course, it's like I love it because I'm learning, but also it's making my job way harder because I'm thinking about it so much more and I'm putting in so much more detail, which is
Sometimes
great.
it's nice to be a bit oblivious, isn't it?
Yeah, oh, definitely. Two
Yeah.
years ago, it was easy to write fucking Sally from down the road a plan, but now I've got people that want to achieve big ass goals, and I'm like, right, this has got to be this time, and this has got to be right, and that, and I'm like, oh my god, it's taking me 4 hours to do one fucking program. Usually, I'd be finished every one by now, but
Yeah, but this is the thing. Like
it's great.
once you do that, honestly, this is how you set, as a coach and a personal trainer. Like, if your business isn't evolving in that direction, then I genuinely think in like 3 or 4 years you get left behind, because the stuff that we teach in that course, I released it nearly a year ago, and it's already starting to, like, you're probably getting adverts yourself. I know I get adverts. A lot of people are starting to try and teach it now.
Oh really?
So yeah, so in a couple of, not from my course, but I mean, I got the information somewhere, didn't I? I didn't just
Yeah.
pluck it out of thin air. It's just that people are catching on that, oh, this is the next level of S&C.
Yeah.
You know, so it's starting to become more popular. So one thing I've been very fortunate about is I've got a lot of good friends that are really high up in S&C, and I get put onto the stuff they're doing, which is ahead of the people that, you know, kind of like behind me, so to speak, and I kind of get there first, luckily.
Yeah.
I've always been quite blessed with some of the people that I've met throughout this strongman strength scene. But I always say, when everybody's doing it, it's too late to get in then. If you were already doing it 2 years before and built a business on it, that's when you're going to get the success and the clientele and stuff and build stuff. So with the strength scene, you've got to continually educate. That's why I say you look back on your old programs and go, oh fuck, because if you're not doing that, then there's some other coach out there who's grafting and learning and is going to get ahead. So yeah,
100%. Oh yeah, no, I definitely agree. And I think that's where I got my success where I am, is that I always just had this interest in, I wonder what they do. Like I started like going to like CrossFit, and wonder what they do, and then I started running, and I was like, wonder how they train, and it was really just from interest of my own that has grown me. And like now I could coach a marathon because I've done one. I could I wouldn't say I can coach CrossFit, but your basic, you know, fundamental movements, I'm confident to do that. Strongman, I'm confident to do now. And I could do so much more things than
but
just
you learn, like, when you do all these different things as well, you go like, oh, I can apply this from CrossFit to this guy in strongman, or I can apply this here, and they all kind of come full circle eventually. So yeah,
100%, and yeah, I love it. It is very interesting, your way of coaching. And how did you, obviously, like you said, you've changed as a coach over the time. How did you get to where you are now with the way that you coach people? Like you've got a lot of restoration stuff in there, and you pay a lot of fine detail to literally everything. Obviously, that's been a process. Where did the interest in that stuff really take off? Because mine's has just been really since I started following you. And then that's when I spoke to you and was like, you should do a course. And you're like, funny enough, I have. So I was like, okay, great, let me in.
So really, it comes back to the fact that I apply stuff to myself. And I've been strength training for, like I say, so I was about, if you count when I first joined the gym, it was 16. So I've been training 18 years.
Okay.
And like I say, luckily, I was very genetically gifted. So by the time I was 20, I was an animal. I was really strong. and I was 80 kilos, and I was way ahead of my time. There wasn't even an under 80 scene back then, but
Yeah.
I've got videos of me on YouTube loading like a 182 Atlas stone. This is like 14 years ago, and I think the world record's only just been put to 181 by Kyle, and sorry Kyle, but I did 182 and I was 20. It's on YouTube.
Yeah, sorry, Kyle. Fuck you,
I
Kyle.
mean, nobody give a fuck back then. So
Yeah.
it was just one of these weird things where I was just this freak little under 80 guy competing in the under 90 scene, 2 or 3 comps a year, doing 105 comps, open comps. This skint little lad as well. I'm paying to go Arnold's here, there, everywhere. No fucking money to my name, but just investing everything in strength training, getting stronger. And I set a load of records and stuff, and I helped build the lightweight scene by setting standards for people when it got more popular to be like, oh, I want to... Like, I had the world deadlift record for like 6-7 years in the under 80 class or something.
Amazing.
So it gave people like a target to aim for that stood for such a long time. But where I'm going with this is basically doing all that when I was young,
Yeah.
was spamming strength training to get as strong as possible with no other focus, just complete autistic vision of get stronger. Everything in my life revolved around getting stronger and doing strongman.
Yeah.
And then eventually I decided to take a break and take a step back. And what I'd found was, because I'd trained for like 6-7 years straight like a freak, I had all these problems and things wrong with me. And then I also started getting injured. Never got injured when I was like 18 to 24. I could do whatever. Cold, no warm up, just pick shit up and I was fine. But slowly over time I started getting hamstring. Like I tore my hamstring I've torn my hamstring about 40 times in my fucking life. Only like little tears. I've had one really bad one, but little tears. So I started being like, right, well, when I come back to strongman, I want to have fixed a lot of these issues.
Yeah.
So I started diving down the rabbit hole of how to fix a lot of these issues. And it turns out that it's all to do with your ribs and your pelvis and scapula and your feet and your ankles and all this. So then I started diving into feet and looking at footwear and walking different and being strong in pronation, supination of the foot, understanding my gait cycle, fixing my hips. And I didn't realise how deep a well I was jumping into. So it just took fucking years. I was doing it I'm still doing it now.
Yeah.
Years and years of learning and applying corrective exercise to myself and fixing all this stuff with the goal to come back to strongman. And then I ended up getting in trouble with the law a little bit.
Oh.
And I got a little bit of a conviction maybe. And
Oh,
I got banned from America for like 5 years basically. I couldn't get into America for like 5 years. So when I finally fixed my body and I was at my peak, looking to come back to strongman, I just couldn't get to worlds, and I only really wanted to do worlds. I wasn't really interested in anything else. So I just continued. I was like, well, I'll just keep fixing my body then while I can't go. So I just kept diving down this path of fixing my body. And yeah, basically I've learnt to restore everything that I fucked up. I learnt to restore.
Amazing.
I pretty much fucked everything and fixed everything thus far. But then I realised that all the things that I created from that 6-7 years of spamming strongman, they're adaptations that aren't unique to me. Like, it wasn't as if, oh, this is my unique problem. It's just that the exercise exposure and loading exposure of those movement patterns creates changes in your body over time so that you can do those movements more efficiently and be more stable. But gradually, as you keep chipping away at that, you go a bit too far. And then you create all these other issues where you start getting injured.
Yeah.
So what I learnt was, if I could start again from the scratch and knew all this, what would I do so that I can spam my training but maintain homeostasis in my body so that after 7 years, I'm not fucked. I can do it for 10 years, 15 years, 20 years.
Yeah.
Because if you can do something for longer, you can get better at it.
Yeah.
Especially in strength training. Because your lifespan as a strength athlete's different to most other athletes because we're not reliant too much on reaction time and stuff. So as long as we keep resilience of our myofascial system and stay healthy, we can just keep linearly getting stronger, really.
Amazing.
You know? So that's where I came up with this. Is I was like, how can I help people? If I could start again and not get myself in this ditch. But then as I started working with more people, a lot of people come to me now that are already in the ditch because they basically did what I did for 10 years.
I only did it for 3 years. Or is
Yeah,
it
well, it's the
great?
thing. It's everybody's body adapts differently as well. Some people can do it for 10 years straight and not really get a thing, and then all of a sudden it all snowballs, and
Yeah.
it's like, well, your pelvis is out of whack, and your femur's internally rotated, your tibia's externally rotated, you know, your knees now getting inflamed, and this and that, and your scapula's an extension, and you know all these things that basically happen to these strength athletes. It's not unique. It's not an individual problem. It's a compensation of the sport and the exposure you get, and
Yeah.
that's what I realised, which is where I started building my restorative exercise principles, where I'm looking to be like, I want people to adapt to the strength training so they can do it better, but I want to make sure that once they cross that line where they get issues arising from those adaptations, we can bring them back a little bit. That's
Yeah.
called zone of opposition, they teach it as. So we want to maintain a certain zone of opposition. We don't want to go too far adapted to strength training, because if we do, we're going to get issues. But if you're clever with it, what you can do is before a competition, you can peak someone so they're further in those adaptations so that they can compete really well. And then afterwards, you would bring them back again so they're not just stuck there chronically, because that's when these issues will start to arise over time. So, long-winded answer, but that is how I built them. I basically, by getting myself really strong and really good at the sport and fucking myself up, and then learning to fix it, and then realising, oh, this isn't just a me problem. This is an every person who powerlifts and strongman's problem. That's why it's very rare you see someone who has done strength training for like 20 years plus and is completely fine and healthy, because usually something crops up. You get there's certain people out there, like Big Z is a great example, really good longevity in the sport.
Yeah.
But then you have the opposite examples as well, like the Kevin Mees, who came up really fast and then had to get out because their body started falling to pieces.
Yeah.
So there are obviously unique cases where it's worse sometimes and better other times, but for the most part, people get to kind of do what they want for like 7 to 10 years in strength training, and then they get punished for the habits they've had over that time. So that's why I built MSC Systems. Really, is I was like, how can I help this? How can I help this scene not avoid the ditch that I dived headfirst into?
Avoid getting fucked up.
Yeah.
Avoid it.
It's hard to look 10 years in the future though when you're a young lad, you know what I mean? It's hard to be like,
Oh yeah.
oh yeah, I'll do all this so that I'm not fucked at 27. But luckily there are people out there more sensible than me, because that's what I think, and some young lads come to us and I'm like, no, I want that. I want to prioritise the future, and I'm like, you're so much more mature than me at 18.
Well done.
Yes.
Yeah, but I think you do. I mean, I was the same. Like when I started strong women, although it was probably just naivety, I had no clue what I was doing really. I didn't stretch, I didn't warm up, I just did it, and my body responded really well. I've always been pretty strong. Like I remember being like pregnant and lifting washing machines and shit. It was never an issue to move things, so I was always strong anyway. And then I was just like, yes, I'm just gonna be good at everything and lift all this shit, and then it was great. And I've only done it for 3 years, but progressed very quickly. And then now I'm starting to feel like all the niggles, like first it was the shoulder, now the hamstring, and then now it's
It's
everything.
because you're genetically inclined to be strong as well. Like some people are gifted nervous system wise. That's why I got the compensation so early on as well, because I was very gifted nervous system wise. Like I don't have a massive amount of muscle tissue on me, but my ability to contract fast from a nervous system is, I'm really gifted. I love it because I love this sport. So it'd be annoying if I wasn't good at it.
Yeah.
But it means that neurologically being that efficient, it means your nervous system will adapt around things more efficiently as well, which is why you can accrue compensation strategies quicker. Like for example, like your QL doing something that they're not supposed to do. If another muscle group isn't working and your QL can take over, your nervous system can just go, oh, fuck it, I'll use that then instead. And then suddenly you end up like hiked up and all twisted because your QL's spasming all the time.
Yeah.
And you don't know why, because you're just doing the same movements that you used to do, but it's just because neurologically there's some kind of compensation going on. Your nervous system's going, oh, I'll just grab that instead, I'll use this. And that's kind of, it's a blessing and a curse. It means you're gifted, but it means that if you don't take care of yourself, you can dig yourself a hole real quick.
Oh, yeah, definitely. But that's what you're there for. So, if you heard it here, if you're fucked up, give them a shout.
Yeah.
Right, I have a question. What does MST stand for? Because I don't even know.
Modified Strongman Training System.
Didn't even know. That's hilarious. I should have known.
You'd be surprised how many people ask me that.
Which
I've
never happened. I
actually,
just never
I've
thought
started
that.
releasing T-shirts with that. I've just paid for a rebrand, Nick. So I'm getting a
I heard.
rebrand
I'm
very soon.
excited. I'm
Yeah.
excited for this because I heard. I think you were telling my boyfriend this at Arnold's, and he was like, "Oh, they're getting a rebrand," and he was all excited. I was like, "Oh, I'm excited to see this
Because
come through."
currently I've had the business 6 years, and I've
Yeah.
invested £30 on Fiverr in my branding. So I
Yeah,
thought
it's
I
time.
think it might be time. Yeah, it's because Shannon started her gym, and the first thing she did was paid this branding woman, and she got this massive branding Bible, all these different things, and I was like,
Yeah.
why don't I have that?
I
like,
know.
I
Oh,
was like,
Shannon's gym looks amazing. It looks so good. She's doing a
yeah.
great job.
That's the female touch, though. You see, that's because she thought about things that I was just like, give me a dragon logo, please, on Fiverr. Right, that one will do. There's my brand. Whereas she was like, I didn't even think too much about this, but yeah, people ask me that a lot, and I'm like, there's definitely an issue with the branding if people don't know what it stands for. So we're changing that.
Yeah, so it's still going to be MST though, surely. It's not
Yeah,
going
still
to
the
change.
MSC systems. It's just literally the dragon came from that was an old nickname I used to have when I competed, and I was like, look, the business is not me anymore.
Yeah.
Also, the dragon, no one even knows what it is anymore because it was a comp on one about 9 years ago when it was relevant. I was like, we need to that needs to be put into the past now. We need to move forward with MST. So yeah.
Well, I don't know you as the dragon. I just know when I first came across you, it was because you were the log father, and that
Yeah.
was. And still, this is the first Instagram reel I've seen of yours when you were doing Q&As and like folk, and somebody says, "What's your favorite strongman lift?" or something, and you're like, "Log, obviously. What a stupid question." And I
All right, I
seen
remember
that,
that one.
and I was fucking decked. I was like, I like this guy. Who's this? And then that was it. I watched every single like video of yours, and then I remember when I first met you, I was totally fangirling. I didn't let you know that,
It's
but I
funny because
was.
I do these jokey reels and I forget I do them. And every time I do these serious reels where I explain something that I think is really helpful, everyone comes up to me and goes, "I saw that reel where you shouted Anadrol, Shane, loved it." And I was like, "Oh, do you not like any of the other ones?" Like and they're like, "No, just those ones." I'm like, "Fuck's
Yeah,
sake."
that their ones are funny, but that's just what reels is like. Like I spend so much time thinking about content, and then like I put one up the other like yesterday of me doing a worm on the floor because I couldn't get out to go to the gym.
Yeah.
And then I got like 10,000 views, and everyone's like, "That's hilarious." I was like, "What about all my good content I put effort into? Like that one's not even good lighting. It's
That's
not
what they
even
say.
got."
Though, you're supposed to do content like you're supposed to do your good content, and then the odd one like that, so people you get new accounts then, don't you as well? Like if
Yeah,
I post informational ones, I don't reach any new accounts. I just reach and then you do a fucking
different
silly
people.
one, and yeah, you
Yeah.
get like my burp. I did a burpee, fucking burpee, and I got the most.
Yes.
Yeah,
And that blew up. Everyone went nuts. But I tried to do that burpee and I could not do it.
yeah,
Like,
but I'm like, can you not look at my? What about my deadlift, guys? Don't want that to pop off like my deads. I'm
yeah,
proud
but
of
that
them. Yeah.
burpee's fucking impressive. You literally go like this.
That's
That's
what happens when you're fucking about. You weigh fuck all, Nick, and you've got a big bench press. That's what you get quite.
right. That's it. I'm working on my bench so I can do that burpee because I love burpees and I used to be really good at them, but I'm not so good at them now. Now you put the standard up. Thanks for that. Thanks for that. But yeah, that log, that was the first reel I ever seen of you, and I was fucking decked, and it's still one of my favorite reels to watch. Sometimes I go back and watch it because it's just log. Obviously, it's fucking hilarious. Anyway, right, let's talk a bit about you then. Tell me something that maybe people that follow you don't know.
I don't know. I'm pretty open. If you follow my stories, I just chat. I'm very much an open book. I'll be honest with you. I don't really know, to be honest. I don't know what to say. Um, we don't know.
Okay, what do you struggle with the most in life? That's a big question. Because everyone's got their own personal struggles. What would you say yours are, if you have any?
Yeah, I'll be straight with you, Nick. I don't know what to say. I'm just a different type of dude. I don't.
Fuck's sake,
I
Shane,
don't
you're
give a
fucking this
fuck.
up.
That's probably my problem. I don't give a fuck.
That's not a problem. That's a fucking good thing.
Yeah, that's what Shannon tells me all the time. She says, "You don't give a fuck about anything." I'm like, "Yeah, no, I don't really get." I'll be straight. I used to, when I was younger, I used to have load of anxiety and a load of issues. But I know why that was nowadays, and I don't have it anymore. For the last 6 to 8 years, not a single issue, completely carefree. I'll be honest with you, my life's great. I love it. I'm the happiest person I could be. My missus is my best mate.
Oh,
A great relationship. Got a nice little cheeky house. I got my dream car. My job's not a job. It's absolutely class. I can't complain. So I don't have any mental health stuff going on or struggles going on that are nothing to. Sometimes people have problems that you can't. It's just something in the brain they can't solve. The life's great, but they've got things going on in the head. I don't have any of that, luckily. I'm quitting weed at the minute. I've got terrible sleep. That's a bit of an issue. I'm trying to sort that, but it's not that big a deal. So yeah, I really can't say that I've got any struggles. I'll be honest with you.
Well, do you know what? That's nice to hear, because I think it takes a while. It's different for everybody.
Yeah, it's not happened overnight. Trust me, it's not something it's not something that I've just been like this my whole life. When I was in my mid-20s, I had terrible anxiety in it, like fucking. But I tell you why it was. I'm a man who I shouldn't be held down to. I shouldn't be working for somebody. Me.
It was, oh yeah.
Yeah, it was when I was working like jobs, and I had to be. I fucking hate getting up in the morning, and I got to be up at 9, and I'd be stuck in traffic driving to work. Oh, honestly, it killed me. I used to I didn't even know. I was so young back then. I didn't even know it was anxiety. You know when you just don't feel good.
Yeah.
Obviously, looking back, it's anxiety, and I had that for years, and it stemmed from a lot of things really in my childhood as well. Like I've got, you can probably see here, you see this little grey patch in my beard. Mm-hmm. I've got vitiligo on the left side of my face, which is a autoimmune condition where the skin doesn't produce pigmentation. So if I shave this, I have like a white patch. Okay. And also this goes jet white like Santa's beard. I just put a bit of Just for Men on it and it looks alright. But I had anxiety from that when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Because obviously at school and stuff, so you can imagine it wasn't ideal. So I had a little bit of anxiety when I was younger, and then it kind of like crept into work and stuff, and I just didn't know what it was. As soon as I kind of figured out what it was, I did try medication when I was younger and stuff to fix it and all this, but I never stayed on it very long because I was obsessed with training, and they put me on like amitriptyline, I think it was, and as soon as I took it, I felt a bit like numb, and then I couldn't get up for training, so I was like, oh, that's getting fucked off.
Yeah.
So yeah, but then as soon as I left my job and started my own business, killed it, gone. So as soon as I did that, I felt free. And it removed all that. So, like I say, it's not something that's happened overnight.
Yeah.
And I used to, even when I was starting, I used to have, like, I remember I had this. We used to call it the Type Rats because I had a Honda Civic. It wasn't a Type R, but somebody had stuck a Type R sticker on the back. So it was like a 1998 Honda Civic, no aircon, nothing. The windows didn't even wind down, and I'd be driving that to my gym, absolutely skint as hell. And I used to be pissed off that I had nothing back then and I was struggling by. But then since starting MST and growing things online, like I say, I've kind of eliminated the things that I used to think about.
Yeah.
And for the last 4 or 5 years, I've been I feel blessed, to be honest with you, to be where I'm at. I say blessed, but then I say it was hard work, so it's kind of a product of graft as well. But
yeah, you're grateful, but it's done the work. You don't feel like when people. It's not luck. Like when people say, "Oh, but you
it's been a lot. It's been a long journey, MST. So, yeah, long journey.
You're still just young though. You're only 34, and you've achieved so much.
Oh yeah, now I've got bigger goals. I want to take over the world now. But,
yes, do it. I believe you can. I think that a lot of people's goals are to be exactly what you said you are, just happy, just fucking happy. They love their job. And
yeah, that was something I struggled with, Nick, as well, because like when I first started online coaching, I charged too little and I did too much. It was a really big issue.
Yeah.
And there was a time I said 4 or 5 years I've probably been in this good spot, but there was a time probably two and a bit years ago where I was in this spot, but I was just far too busy, and I guess I would say I was stressed then.
Yeah.
I still had my freedom. I could still train when I wanted and all this stuff, but I was very, very overworked. And yeah, that's when I started realising that being time rich is much more valuable than just having fucking hundreds of clients coming in. But that was a really tough period in business because the problem with coaching, as you know, is you become so friendly with people that to step back from the role was a tough decision to do and a hard one to do. But since doing that, sorry guys, but much happier because I feel like my work is fun again now instead of like, oh shit, I've got to do this.
Yeah.
And like I used to go on holiday and I'd take my laptop with me and I'd have to work every day on holiday and stuff. Whereas now I can go on holiday and go on holiday.
Yeah.
So yeah, being like I say, being happy and free with your time is definitely something that in business you've just got to go through. I think you have to go through that journey though. I don't think anybody really starts the first business and gets it right when they plan it. You always kind of plan it, get somewhere and then go, fuck.
I don't like this. Fuck this up. Yeah, I 100%. Like when you're a coach as well and you love what you do, like you said, you get very friendly and stuff with your clients, and then you feel bad saying no to things, and then you do things anyway, and you're not charging extra for it, and you do, and then you get to the point where you're like, I just don't want to do this anymore because I'm not getting any more money. I've got no time. Then you start procrastinating on stuff, don't get stuff done. Then it becomes stressful because and it's just one big fucking circle. Where if you just learn to say no. That was a massive lesson. I was always yes man, yes. Yeah. And then now I say no all the time because I just no.
Yeah, I've just learned, like, if you give someone something as well, if the client asks for something that's kind of outside of the service, and you just give it freely, it kind of then becomes expected of you. Yeah. And then if you don't say no the first time, you probably won't say no the second time. And then once you've done it a couple of times, you now think that you're doing it when originally that wasn't the original agreement. And then you start doing it with one person, two people. Next minute you've added all this work for no extra money. Yeah. And you're fucked. And I did that a million times, Nick, and ended up ended up just doing far too much for not really much. Like in terms of what they were paying monthly. Yeah. I was doing like 4 times the service that I should have been doing for everyone though. Yeah. And then you just end up in a rut, really. And
you just hate it, and then you end up getting annoyed at your clients, and it's like, well, it's not their fault because
that's what I used. I've made loads of mistakes. I snapped at clients before on voice note. You fucking piece of shit, like proper shouting at them. And then like the next day, I'm sorry, mate. I'm sorry. But then I realised, like, look, I shouldn't be putting myself in this situation.
It's our own fault.
I think business with coaching is really difficult, I think, personally, because you still got to have that side. You can't just be a robot and not be empathetic with people's situations and stuff and not give that extra sometimes. Yeah. But you've just got to keep a bit of a leash on it, haven't you, where if you give extra, you make them know this is extra, it's a once-off kind of thing. I'll sort you out, though. Yeah. But don't expect this to be... I always say that now, because it stops it in its tracks from getting out of hand. I can do my nice deed, but then it's like...
That's it.
After that, it's not...
if you want more, you need to pay for it, or you have to get someone else.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
It has to be like that. So, when you said, you were feeling anxious and things like that with your job that you were in, what steps did you take to feel better? Obviously, you left your job, you started your own business. That was a huge thing, but
kind of didn't quite happen like that. But...
Okay, well, what happened then?
Right, I'll tell you the full story. So I was a cocaine addict for about 2 years, randomly.
There we go.
So
okay.
Basically, I quit strongman competing.
Okay.
Sort my body out. And then, once I stopped competing, I didn't really have much direction or anything I was doing, really, to be honest with you. Yeah. And I was doing all this, I was still learning all this stuff and training full time, doing all this. Like, none of that got affected. But I never went out and drank from 18 to 24. I just trained all the time. Was like Mr. fucking religious, don't do anything alcohol, really against drugs, even though I took some PEDs, but I was against recreational drugs. And then once I stopped competing, I was like, I'm going to enjoy myself. And anyway, I ended up getting into bloody partying every weekend and going away and doing all this. And this didn't help the anxiety that I was getting anyway. Started getting on it every weekend.
Yeah.
And then the way that it basically evolved, to be honest, was this is what I got done for in courts, is I worked in insurance, and them people that ring you and say, have you had a car accident?
Oh, you wasn't one of them, were you?
No, but I sold.
I thought you were. I was like, oh, you're
No,
so
I
annoying.
sold. I had access to data, basically.
Okay.
I met a solicitor on a night out, long story short, and he offered to buy the data. E.g., someone rings up with a car crash, I send him their name and number, so that he could actually ring the right person. Instead of ringing a lot of random people, he could actually ring somebody who had literally just had a car crash and then get them as a client. And I would get a percentage of the client intake. Ended up making a semi-substantial amount of money per week, we shall say. For the courts, I made £10,000 in total. But yeah, you can't do much with cash money, Nick, can you? No. So I ended up getting into drugs even more, and I did that for about a year straight until I got caught, and then I got sacked.
Yeah.
And then that was kind of the wake up call to, oh fuck, what the fuck am I doing? And I couldn't get a job because I was on bail.
Yeah.
And this court case was going on for... This is why I couldn't get into America for like 5 years, because this court case, it wasn't that they got me banned from America. The court case had to get settled, and I had to get a conviction for it to like be done.
Yeah.
But it just dragged on for years. So eventually, after like 6-7 months, I asked basically, I've always wanted to open a gym, but I'd never would have had the balls when I was working, because what if you leave your job and it doesn't work and all this? Well, what had basically happened was every single thing had been taken away from me that I owned. I lost my car, my job, all my credit cards bounced, loans bounced, I had no credit, I had nothing basically. And I was like, I'm alright. The only thing I had was Shannon, because Shannon just stuck through it with us, and she paid for everything. And that's when I realised, like, I should probably sort my life out, to be honest with you. And I asked my mum to lend me some money, which she got off the Bank of Nan. And then I opened, she gave me 10 grand, and I basically opened a gym. I bought the cheapest unit possible, kitted it with gym mats, and decided that I was going to just go for this thing that I always wanted to do but never had the balls to do, basically. And then that's kind of where it all started, to be honest with MST. But it took, for me, I wasn't brave enough to take the leap. I wasn't brave enough to leave my job and do it. I sat for years thinking about running gyms. I used to talk to people in my office, I want to open a gym one day. I was a little pussy and I wouldn't dare do shit. Me getting in trouble and getting sacked and losing everything was the best thing in the world to ever happen to me, which is why I don't mind telling people about it. I tell people proudly, because although it's a fucking dickhead thing to do and it wasn't a great part of my life, having everything taken from me and being sat there like, oh, I'm alright. Like, weirdly, I'm alright. I feel alright. Like, a lot of pressure is lifted off my shoulders as well. But I was scared to be in that situation. What if I lost everything? What if this? What if that? What if it didn't work out? So actually being there and realising it was perfectly fine was really eye-opening for me. And then it allowed me to just have the balls to just chase my dreams, because I thought to myself, if the gym doesn't work out, I'll just end up back here. And here's not so bad,
Exactly. That's how I opened my gym. My husband left me, and I wasn't in a good place, and I wasn't okay, but I lost like everything. I had my kids, but I lost my husband. He was my best friend. I lost my best friend. I then lost my house because I just didn't want to live in that house. It was his house, so I left. And then I was like, well, what's the worst that can happen? I have fuck all now. So I may as well try, because I always say to my clients, like, you can say what if, what if, what if, but I'd rather say even if I open the gym, it doesn't work, at least I fucking tried.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. It's like it is. When I say to people sometimes, because people ask me about starting their own business and stuff, and I tell them, "Oh, just take the leap, risk it, blah blah blah."
Just do it.
It's hard for me to understand, because usually you tell people that
Yeah.
no one does it, do they?
No.
It's really hard to do. Very rare somebody does it. So I sometimes feel hypocritical telling people that, because I didn't. Like, I know it looks like I did, and if I tell someone the short story, I go, "Oh, I left my job and
Yeah.
I started the gym." But really, I didn't actually have the balls to leave my job. It kind of, I fucked everything up, and I got forced to, basically.
Yeah, but then you said that you lost everything and nothing bad happened. So then that reassured you that if you do this and it doesn't work out, nothing bad's going to happen.
Yeah, but I always think, Nick, in life, really, imagine if I didn't go to that place and meet that solicitor that day, if I just never met him and then never did the crime, and then would I still be sat working in insurance? Who knows? But it's that one wrong decision set off a chain of events that forced that to happen. And I don't know if I don't know if future me, because I was about 24 or 5, I think, when I did that. I don't know if me at 26 or 27 would have had the balls still, because maybe I'd have ended up here anyway. Maybe I'd have just done it eventually anyway. But I don't know if I would, because when you're in that like ball of anxiety and pity, and you kind of like different mindset, it's like a different me back then. I look back to then, and I really think of it as like a different me, to be honest with you.
100%.
So yeah, but it's all well and good me telling people to take that jump, but really.
Yeah, but I didn't take the jump either. My husband left me. I didn't take any jump. If he didn't leave me, I'd still be with him. Like, and we weren't getting on, and I should have left many times, and I didn't. But the best thing he ever did for me was leave, because I would have we wouldn't be having this conversation. I wouldn't be going to Giants Live this weekend. I probably wouldn't be doing strongman coaching. I probably would. He kind of encouraged me to try strongman, so I think I probably would have tried it, but I don't think I'd still be doing it. And I certainly wouldn't have a gym. I wouldn't have done it. So
I know a lot of people who started businesses through something happening that forced the hand.
Yeah.
I don't know that many people that had a job and the security and had everything, and then they just left on their own accord. I think that's a much harder thing to do, to be honest with you. But once you get your hand forced and you end up, like you say, in that shit situation, and you realise you're kind of okay, it really opens a lot of doors to you, doesn't it? Because you can be like, well, I can do anything from here. This is like a crossroads in my life. What am I going to choose to do? Am I going to get another job and work 9 to 5, or am I going to open a gym? I actually got a job, first of all. I walked into the job, I sat down, and I worked for 2 hours. And I was like, "Sorry, mate, I'm fucking done." I walked straight out. I realised. Yeah, I realised this is a mistake. I was like,
"Hey, that was probably just that little extra thing that pushed you just to be like, fuck this." Like, I am unemployable.
Yeah, because as soon as I sat there, I had them dreadful feelings again.
Yeah.
Of being trapped or something. I think that's what my anxiety came from, being trapped. Like, I feel like I've got a very creative mind that I can think about stuff, and if you give me this boring, monotonous job where I can't explore my creativity, I think it just feels like I'm caged or something. Because that as soon as I sat down, I remember feeling them feelings, and I was just like, "I'm sorry, mate, I'm out." I just left.
I think when you're creative, you are like that though, because I remember, even when I was like a stay-at-home mum, which I loved and I'll always be grateful for, I always remember, like, if I wasn't busy, I would be walking just thinking, is this it? Is this all I'm supposed to do? And I just knew there was more. I was like, there's something out there I'm supposed to do, and I fuck knows what it is, but it's something. I know now that it's talking for long periods of time. That is my my gift is being able to talk in any kind of situation. But I remember being fucking miserable. I loved being a mum, but I remember there was just something not right. Oh,
You've
just
got to find your
opposite.
own little thing in life, haven't you? You've got to
Yeah,
find your own little groove. And the thing is, it's funny because I already found my thing.
yeah,
Because I was doing, as soon as I left, I used to be looking at the clock, waiting for 5 o'clock to come. I'd be flying to the gym. As soon as I get in that gym, different me. Anxiety gone, feeling great, feeling passionate, speaking,
yeah.
confident. I already knew my thing. I just didn't bring it into my work life for some
I
reason.
think it was different then because it wasn't such a big thing to be working in fitness. Like when I first started PTing, there was one other PT in my town. Now there's like 20.
Yeah. Also, I'll tell you something that messed me up when I was a kid. I used to find people that I respected, and I used to listen to them really religiously. And there
Yeah,
was this one, cheers, darling. There was this one personal trainer who used to tell me all the time, "Don't be a personal trainer because you won't make money. People don't pay you this." Basically, he had a shit business, and he
yeah,
used to tell me that was it for everyone, and it wasn't his. Looking back, he was shit at business.
yeah,
Good, but he was a very good coach.
yeah,
But you know that sometimes you don't get 2 and 2, do you? You get good coach, bad businessman, he can't get any clients,
yeah,
so I used to respect him as a coach. Like, well, if he can't get any money, then what's the point of me trying?
yeah,
And then as time went on, I realised, you probably shouldn't idolise people that aren't doing very well. You should probably, just branch out a little bit and look at some people that are successful in the field, because there was plenty. If I'd have looked, there was plenty of successful personal trainers about.
yeah,
Just the one I was kind of fixated on would tell me not to do it, and it used to ring in my brain like, oh, it's not an option really. I can't leave because I will fail.
yeah.
So yeah, it's a weird one.
Yeah, it's who you surround yourself with. Like, although, you've got people in your life that are good people and you care about them, but some people do just have that closed mindset and they hold you back. So you need to get out there. Like that's what I'm saying. I would not be where I am had I stayed in my relationship because I wouldn't have went anywhere. I always did everything with him. Never explored anywhere by myself and met people, and I wouldn't be nowhere near as I was confident anyway, but I am 10 times more confident
Yeah.
in my ability, and I believe if I want to do something I can achieve whatever I want. Like give me something, if I want to do it, it's going to happen. Where before I wouldn't have been like that. I wouldn't have thought that was possible.
Yeah, you remove your limitations, don't you? Eventually, you just
Yeah,
kind of go. I think you keep setting these little goals,
yeah,
and as you keep tripping them off, you start. Well, maybe I should set bigger goals.
yeah,
And then you set a bigger goal, you hit it, you're like, oh, fucking hell, maybe I should set a really big, stupid goal because I keep ticking off all these goals, maybe I'm not, aiming. And then you end up, like I said before, I said I want to take over the world, I can be serious. I want to, like, with
I'm
the,
being
S-
serious.
with the S&C stuff, I want to be like, I just decided, I was like, fuck it, I just want to go full send. Because where I'm at with business now, it's kind of like, I've either got to go all in,
Yeah,
or just kind of be happy with what we're doing and kind of tick over, if that makes sense.
yeah, yeah.
I mulled over that for about 6 months, then I was like, you know what, we're going to fucking go for it.
So what is the big goal for your business and yourself then? Like,
Well, basically, the strongman scene is very niche. So,
yes,
in the UK, US, etc., it's niche, yeah? Not that many people that are really involved in it. But then you've got people like, not a lot of people have done it, but like Mitch Hooper, Eddie Hall, Stoltmans, probably a few others that I'm not naming. They've branched out from the niche strongman scene to this kind of gen pop scene
yeah,
where they've got fans that realistically know nothing about the fucking sport. You know what I mean? But they just follow the Stoltmans or they follow Eddie Hall.
yeah,
We're teetering on the edge of breaking through into that population, and how am I going to break through into that kind of population, and how am I going to offer them people products
yeah,
and sell to them as well instead of in the niche, because we've got a good name in the niche and we've kind of built a lot within the niche, but
yeah,
my next step is like, sounds egotistical when I say this, but I've got to be a little bit. I coach like probably 10 of the best strongmen in the world. Why
yeah,
am I not in men's fitness?
yeah,
Why am I not online on podcasts talking to famous people about my strength and conditioning principles. My strength and conditioning principles are unique, and I believe in them. Why am I not educating and speaking to powerlifting coaches on big podcasts? And you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
but it took me a while to be confident enough to even think those thoughts because
Yeah.
I'm just a strongman coach. But then when it comes down to it, I'm like, no, I'm not just a strongman coach. I'm somebody who's created something, understands the body biomechanics and how the body adapts to strength training. I believe that I can help any strength athlete get out of these ruts that they get themselves in. So the next goal for me is I have to be more confident within myself, and I have to be like, I believe I can do X, Y, Z things. I believe I can, influence training systems across, like 5-3. Have you heard of 5-3-1?
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody who gets into strength training or the gym, just general gym goers know about 5-3-1.
Yeah.
I want the MST system to be like 5-3-1.
Yeah.
When you get into strength training, make sure you do the MST system, because if you do, you won't get any issues later down the line. Instead of it being a great strength training program, strength training, periodization, conjugate method, all these things, they've already been mastered and tweaked with by many great coaches over decades. But restorative exercise and understanding the adaptation that take place, no one's done it yet. To be honest with you, no one's done it. So that's why I need to be confident within my product.
Yeah.
And approach my vision with my business with that confidence, because then I can set goals that are relevant to getting those outcomes and breaking through the niche strongman scene and breaking through. Which this is the first time I've ever said it to somebody, by the way, apart from my coaches and me. But nobody's really asked me about it before. So
Well, I think that's amazing, and if anyone can do it, you can. And like you said, it takes time to get that confidence, but for confidence, you have to do the thing to build your confidence, but you also have to look at the data and ask if it's true, and you have the fucking data to show that.
I've been doing this for a long time now. I've got a lot of like confirmation and reassurance that I'm right, and then it's making me like more like we need to go. We need to go with this, because the only thing that's gonna hold me back is me.
Yep.
And I just refuse to let that happen. I'd rather push like crazy, and what's the worst that can happen? I'll look a tit,
Yeah. But even then you won't, because at least you fucking tried.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Fuck it, that's what it is.
Who cares?
I realised many years ago that as long as I wake up in the morning and Shannon looks at me and I'm not like an absolute fucking mouse to her, then I'm alright. So even if everybody in the world hates me, it's not really too much of an issue if your things at home are okay, is it? So that's why things like that have just made me just think, fuck it, let's just go for it and just see what we can do. But if I hold myself back by being scared of putting myself out there, then I'm just going to regret it, aren't I? You know what I mean?
100%, and you'd rather fail than look back and wish you and regret it. Like I'd rather fail a million times than look back and say I wish I'd done that.
Yeah, imagine if let's say I built this restorative exercise system. Let's say I'm the first to do it, and I've been teaching it to people, but then I don't dare put myself out there. And then in 10, 15 years, some other guy learns it, builds upon it, makes it a bit better, and then puts himself out there and gets all the credit for it all, and then becomes this huge coach, like a Charles Poliquin type vibe coach.
Yeah.
And I'm sat there like, oh, it was me. Then I'll end up being, there's a guy called Ian King. There's a coach called Ian King. And Ian King has said for a long time, I'm kind of paraphrasing a lot here, by the way, but a lot of the stuff he learned, Charles Poliquin learnt off him, but then Charles Poliquin got a lot of the credit for a lot of the things, not everything, but a lot of the things that made Charles famous and popular came from Ian King. Apparently, I don't know the full fucking story, but he's this like, no offense to you, Ian, if I doubt you listen to this, but he might be this like bitter old coach, so to speak.
Yeah.
I don't want that to be me, because I didn't dare have a fucking full sender and just go for it. Because if what I believe is correct and this training system is as good as I believe it to be, then it should get out there. And then if I don't put it out there, somebody else will eventually put it out there, because they'll see the value in it and have the balls to go for it.
Yeah, but then even like doing your course, even people that I'm not coaching that are doing strongman, are coming to me with like niggles and things like that, and I've not even finished your course because it takes me so long to learn things. Little things I've already learned, has gave me confidence to be like, I think I can help. I think I can help you. I think there's things I can do that I've learned that can help you, and that's somebody that's just general population that needs some help. So
Yeah, yeah, because a lot of these issues can be fixed by, like, strength training is beautiful and it can fix so many issues. And if you just understand the stuff we teach is how to restore homeostasis. So even if they slightly have different issues or compensations, if you roughly know
yeah,
where to start, you can start changing the relationships of joints
yeah,
pretty quickly, especially as someone who's new to training,
yeah,
because they're so open to adaptation and change. They're just like ready to be basically have some stimulation to grow tissue and change nervous system. So you give them the correct exercises
hmm
and with the correct execution, and then suddenly you've helped someone's shoulder pain that's been in shoulder. Like we see it all the time. People go to physios a lot
yeah,
and they don't get the results they want. But the problem with the physio is if they're training in the gym is like wrong, so to speak.
yeah,
They do a few physio exercises with a band, and they give it like 3% stimulation to the shoulder, and then they go do a big random shoulder session at the gym. They don't know what they're doing, and they give 97% stimulation in the gym. Then the adaptation they're going to get is what they did in the gym. So
yeah,
it's not that the physio's wrong, it's just that the training program is undoing everything that the physio's giving him. So that's why we teach basically how can we do, it's basically like advanced physiotherapy really, like actually loading the joints in the correct positions and training the muscles in the correct joint angles, because then you get them strong
yeah,
in those safe positions, and then the joint adapts around them, and then they don't have pain anymore.
yeah,
So I think strength and conditioning is such a powerful tool because physiotherapy is something that you should do. You should do physio, in my opinion, as a add-on to your S&C work. I don't think physio is the cure for a lot of issues, because if somebody's training anyway,
yeah,
that training's got to be what fixes the problem, or at least not make it worse, and then the physio can do its job. But if you're just undoing what the physio's doing, it's never going to work. So a lot of these Gen Pop people probably will have been to like physios and chiros and this and that,
yeah.
but then they'll get better results sticking to a 4 or 5 week training program because they'll actually get good stimulus through it and consistency and frequency. And
Yeah.
I think S&C is beautiful. I love it.
No, I agree. I've got a lady that started in the gym and she came and her whole body was in agony. And like I said, the stuff that I've learned from you, I've implemented just small bits into the program, and she's not in pain anymore.
Yeah, and that's like
And she's
that's
loving it.
amazing.
She's never been into the gym. She's 50 something, never been to a gym. Gave her a couple of these things, which were obviously doable movements, nothing crazy, nothing scary, and she's not in pain anymore.
Yeah,
So
and
it works.
that's like, in my opinion, I mean, I love getting people stronger. Don't get me wrong. But the most rewarding thing for me is when somebody's had something that they've, like yourself, your shoulder. I know it's not fully fixed, and we're kind of going through layers of compensation now.
Yeah,
But from being not able to press to doing your comp and pressing the log, and
yeah,
that's the most rewarding thing for me, because you feel like you've really given somebody something that's changed. Like, it doesn't just change your training.
yeah,
Like chronic pain's chronic pain. You feel it all the time.
yeah,
To remove someone from that pain I think it's amazing, to be honest with you. And then getting people stronger. Obviously, it's fun, but it doesn't impact outside of the gym, really, does it? Whereas pain
yeah.
and issues, it impacts your whole life. So
It's your whole life, yeah, whole life. Well, Shane, that was amazing. I think that a lot of people will enjoy that and see that it's, like you said, people just see that one side. I think sometimes, and like just the coach side, but it's, although you said that you're fine, no mental health issues you've got now, which is great. You have had, and it took it took rock bottom to have nothing to get you to where you are, but it's about taking that step and believing in yourself. Like you said, you've been holding off on this thing you've had, your
I didn't
confidence.
even realise I'd been through such a journey until you asked me, to be honest with you.
See, this is what my job is, because I always know, and when you said there's nothing, I was like, well, fuck you. That's my job, is that I will find it. I'll find it. But that's what I love. This is why I do the podcast, because everyone's got a story. Like, no matter what you think, if you, because you like you said, oh, there's nothing. Yeah, you're in a good place right now, but there's always something that's got you to where you are, and it's usually something tough that somebody's went through. That's usually the drill, and that's what inspires
Yeah.
people. That's what inspires people, because it'll be people that are listening that are going through a tough time. It's like, fuck, I've been following him for ages, and he went through a tough time, and look at him now. If he can do it, I can do it. So.
Yeah, maybe. My inspirational story of
Inspiring people all over the world.
No,
You
thanks, Nick, I
inspired me by
appreciate
just doing your log reel. That was enough for me.
it. No, I do appreciate it. It's fun talk. I enjoyed it.
No, it's been great. But thank you very much. And if my followers don't know where to find you, which they will, some of them might not. Where can they find you? Where's best to follow you?
So we post a lot on Instagram at MSD Systems, and we're recently starting up the YouTube again. So the YouTube's going to be pretty good, I hope. So the YouTube's MSD Systems as well. But you will see me spamming on Instagram mainly if you follow us there.
Perfect. Well, thank you very much. And I haven't got a tinny today. I've got a Stanley Cup. But happy Tinny Talk. And if you enjoyed this, make sure you like and subscribe. You know the drill, because it means I can get more cool people on, like Shane German here. So, but thanks for listening, and we will catch you next time.